Hello all, Shadwell here, ready to talk about the next film in my collection, Absolution from 1978. It's the 13th film in the 50 Drive-In Movie Classics collection, is directed by Anthony Page, and stars Richard Burton and Dominic Guard. I don't know if I've said this yet, so I might be repeating myself, but I'm finding myself to be surprisingly impressed with the quality of the films in the 50 Drive-In Movie Classics collection. Perhaps it's in stark contrast to the quality of the movies in the 50 Decrepit Crypt of Nightmares. Yeah, it might be because the 50 Decrepit Crypt of Nightmares movies were so awful that even the kinda good ones were lacking, but this collection, 50 Drive-In Movie Classics, has had way more good than bad so far, and the bad haven't been awful while the good can be exceptional, which is where we find ourselves with Absolution. This film is incredible. It's about a priest at an English boarding school who has been targeted by a student who tries to drive him mad through his acts of confession. And by that I mean he confesses to wild and ludicrous things because he knows the priest, played by Richard Burton, can't share them with anyone else or talk about them outside of confession with the kid himself through the rules of confession, which I'm not very well schooled on because I grew up Lutheran, not Catholic, and when I say grew up Lutheran, I should point out it wasn't by choice. Anyway, the kid takes everything up a level by confessing to murder, and that's when the thriller part of this movie really kicks into gear. And boy oh boy, is this film tense as the threat of another murder is very real, but because of the rules of confession, the priest is powerless to stop it from happening except from his own interference. This film is as fascinating as it is thrilling, and it had me going throughout, even surprising me with its double twist ending. I'm highly recommending this film whether you're religious or not, because I imagine a religious person might get the whole sanctity of confession stuff a bit more than I did, and therefore get something more out of the film. Although I should not be too surprised, as I expected good things as the film is billed in the opening title as Anthony Shaffer's Absolution. Anthony Shaffer being the writer behind The Wicker Man, which is a folk horror film that I am enamored with. Unlike The Wicker Man though, I didn't know the ending of this before I saw it for the first time, as the ending of The Wicker Man is much more infamous than this film, which I'd honestly never heard of before watching it right before writing this review. But I always imagined I would have been shocked by the ending of The Wicker Man if I didn't know beforehand, and I was certainly shocked by the ending of Absolution. Which is partly why I'm going to give Absolution an A-. It is that damn good, and if you can find a copy, watch it immediately. Tomorrow is the Steven Spielberg film Catch Me If You Can. See y'all then.